Okay, today we are going to discuss about the bidirectional replication. So in this bidirectional replication, what happened is in the unidirectional replication, the changes are applied to target mission only. Only changes are propagated to only one direction. Means the transactions will happen only in the source mission, and the changes will be captured by extract process, and those will be pumped to target mission, and replicate will do the replicate will apply them to the target mission. So what happens is the changes are propagated only in one direction, means from source to target. So there won't be reverse option, that is from target to source mission, there changes won't be reflected. So since it is a unidirectional replication. Okay, so in bidirectional replication, what happens is that transaction keeps happening both on source and target missions, and we need to synchronize both the environments. So for that purpose, we will use bidirectional replication. So also it will be called as an active-active configuration also. In this, what happens is that applications connected to both source as well as target missions, and applications performs the transactions, users perform the transactions on source mission as well as the target mission, and both will be synchronized. So in this, in order to synchronize, we need to configure the bidirectional replication. Okay. So what happens is how we are going to configure the bidirectional replication is that, as I mentioned last time, bidirectional in entire Golden Gate, the basic is unidirectional replication. In unidirectional replication, we are configuring extract as well as pump in the source. Target in the target, we are going to configure the replicate. So based on the business logic, we are going to increase the number of extracts as well as replicate processes based on our volume of data, based on the system requirements, business requirements. We are going to increase those processes. However, in all the configuration, whether it is a bidirectional or unidirectional or data warehousing related configuration or consolidation or integration, wherever it may be, the basic is that we are going to have unidirectional configuration only with slight changes. So for example, in integration, what happens is that transaction keeps happening on more than one source database, but ultimately the target will be only one database. Okay, in a distributed means transaction happens in only one database, but the data will be pumped to more than one target. So in the bidirectional means, what happens is that the transactions are happening on both the ends. The transaction happens in the source as well as in the target. Means, so this is the source, this is the target. So users connects to source database as well. Another set of users connected to target database also. So source transaction keeps happening over here, and it will be replicated to the target mission. And again, other users are updating the data in the target mission. Those will be propagated to the source. So at any time, both the databases will be in sync. Okay, in bidirectional replication, both the databases will be in sync with the bidirectional configuration. And as I mentioned, even in bidirectional configuration or in any other configuration, the basic is unidirectional configuration. If you are clear with the unidirectional configuration, so any configuration you can design based on your business requirement. Okay, so how we are going to configure the bidirectional configuration? It's very simple. But configuring is very simple, but it's a little complicated. Just you need to have an idea of how the components are distributed. Okay, so in the unidirectional, what happened? We are configuring extract as well as pump process in the source mission. So this is source area. In the target mission, we are having one replicate process, and collector process will be there. It is managed by manager process automatically, so no need to configure it separately. In a similar way, we need to configure bidirectional configuration. Means here in the target, we are going to create one extract process in the target mission. We are going to configure one pump process here. We are going to configure one replicate process in the source mission. pump process will pump the remote local trials to remote machine, and the replicate will apply those changes. If you see, the same thing has been reversed over here. Means in the unidirectional, extract and pump are configured in source machine. Here we configured extract and pump in the source as well as in the target machine. In the same way, replicate also has been configured in both the ways. I mean both the ends. Okay, so if you divide this configuration, whatever I draw, the upper part is one unidirectional and lower part is another unidirectional, but in a opposite side. Okay, so bidirectional means this is the way we are going to configure. But in this bidirectional configuration, there is no need of initial load from target to source, because source and target will both the source as well as target databases are in sync already when we configure the unidirectional configuration. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, golden gate configuration, I mean bidirectional configuration is very, very simple, but little complication is also involved over there because of the bidirectional, because the transactions are happening on the both the sides. So what are those problems? One is looping problem will happen, and another one is conflicts will happen. Okay, so I'm going to explain both the options, what exactly looping means, what exactly the conflict, and how we are going to happen. I mean how we are going to resolve those issues. Looping means basically transaction keep happening on the source as well as target in a cyclic fashion. So that is nothing but a looping. I'm going to explain that now. For example, employee table is there. In the employee table, we are going to, in the source machine, we have an employee table. In the target machine, we have an employees table. Okay, so what happens is, for example, if I insert one record over here in the source machine, what happens? Those will be moved to the redo log files. Those will be recorded in the redo log files. Extract process will read this redo log file and it will make it as a local trial file, and it will push it to the target, and target will, in the target machine, replicate will apply to the target machine. So when you insert this one, automatically this will be applied on the target machine. So when you are applying on the target machine means what exactly it does in the target side is, again it is going to execute the same statement whatever you executed in the source machine. For example, if I type insert into employee table values 100 comma Oracle training employee name. Say when I insert this record in the source machine using Scott user, what happens? That will be moved to the redo log files. I mean the change will be recorded in the redo log files. After that, extract process will read redo log file, and it will generate the local trial file, and it will move it will move that local trial to remote machine, and replicate will read that transaction from the remote trial file, and it will apply to the target database. Here the difference is total two transactions happened. One transaction in the source machine, another transaction happened in the target machine. Let me explain you that one, how it happened. Let's broadly divide three columns. One is target transaction owner, transaction owner, action. Let's divide these three columns. So first one is a transaction owner, object owner, and action, and location we can say. I did a insert at source. From where I did this insert? Using my application. Application owner did some insert statement in that employee table through application. So what happens? The simple Scott owner will Scott user will insert the record directly into employee table. So the transaction owner is Scott. Okay, and who is the owner for that object? Object is employee table. So the owner for that object is Scott. Okay, and what action we did? We did an insert statement. Okay, and in our unidirectional replication, we configured extract as well as pump in the source, and replicate we configured in the target mission. So everything is working fine. So this transaction, whatever I did insert statement, has been pushed to the target mission in the form of remote trial file. So the transaction is located in the remote trial file. Now replicate is going to replicate this transaction on my target database. Means replicate is handled by GG user. Okay, so whatever it reads from the remote trial file, it will apply to the target mission. Though we are inserting a record into the Scott schema, employee table of Scott schema, but the transaction being done by GG users. Okay, so now insert will happen at target through repeated process. Because our transaction, whatever we did in the source mission, that has been pushed to the target mission, and it is available in the remote trial file, and it is readily available for replicate process to replicate in the target mission. So while applying the transaction to the target mission, the transaction owner will be GG user, and object owner will be employee, and action is insert. Okay, so when you are doing this insert on the target mission, again redo will be generated. Okay, and redo that entry will be recorded in the redo log file. So this is the basic database configuration. Recording the transaction into the redo log files. So what happened? Application owner inserted one record in the employee table at source mission. Let me take one separate paper. First step is user inserted, application inserted at source, and second step is recorded, the transaction has been recorded in the redo log file. Next one is it has been read by extract process, and next one is replicate applied in the target mission. Though transaction has been applied by GG user on the target mission, still that is a transaction, some DML transaction, so redo will be generated. Okay, now let's take an example. in the previous, yeah. So now in bidirectional configuration, what I said, we are going to configure unidirectional in a reverse direction. I mean, in both the direction, we are going to configure unidirectional configurations. So extract process located in the target machine will read this transaction from the redo log file. Here, redo log will be there. So what happens, this extract process will read this redo log file, again it will place into the trail file, and again it will push it to the source machine, and the replicate process will try to insert the same record into the source machine. So what happened, user inserted record over here, okay, so that has been recorded in the redo log file, and extract process read that information and it pushed it into the target machine, and replicate applied at the target machine. And when the transaction has been applied in the target, automatically since it is a DML transaction, the transaction will be recorded in the redo log file. So again, extract process will read this redo log files located on the target machine, and it finds this DML transaction. So what happens is that extract process will extract that redo. Yeah, extract process will read that redo log files, and it will generate the trail file over here in the remote in the target machine. So data pump will push the transaction to the source machine. Again, replicate process located in the source machine will try to apply the transaction on the source machine. Means the source in the source database, application user inserted one record, and again Golden Gate is trying to insert the same record in the source machine. Because of bidirectional configuration, it is happening in the it went into the looping state. So this is one problem. Another problem is conflict will be there. So I'm going to discuss it later to avoid the confusion at this moment. So in order to avoid, the looping problem will happen in the bidirectional configuration. So that has to be taken care. If we resolve that looping problem, then bidirectional transactions will happen without any issues. So how we are going to overcome looping problem? If you see this one, whatever that transaction happening as per my chart, there is a difference in the transaction owner. In the source, transaction owner is Scott, but whereas in the target machine, transaction owner is GG user. So the simple technique over here is, we are going to instruct extract process to exclude all the transactions done by GG user. If we specify that option, automatically what happens, extract will not consider the transactions done by GG user. So in that scenario, what happens, user inserts the record at source machine, so that will be recorded in the redo log files. Extract reads it, and extract pumps to the target machine. Target replicate process will read the transaction from the remote trail file, and it applies to the target machine, and the target machine will record the changes to the redo log file. But extract will not capture that record from the redo log files, because the transactions done by GG user. Since we are specifying to exclude GG user, extract will not read those transactions generated at the target machine. So that change will not be, the DML will not be captured by our extract process, so it will not reflect in the trail files. So the replicate process in the source machine will not do any transactions on the source machine. So in this way, looping can be avoided. So I'm going to show you now, without using looping, how we are going to configure the bidirectional configuration, and we will after that we will enter into the situation where looping happens. Then I will try to use looping concept, take options, and we will avoid the looping, and bidirectional will be completed with that. So that is agenda which I am planning today. Okay, now let me show you in my system how we are going to implement it. Okay, as I explained last time, first session is for green color is for source machine and blue color is target machine, and third one is this is for source. Third session is slight green color is for source machine to perform any database transactions or anything. Fourth one is light blue color. This is for rougher for the second node. So this is the notation I am going to use. Now already I have something in my PC. I will clear it up first, then we will start from the initial load as well as the configuring bidirectional load. So which is going to take approximately 45 to 1 hour now. Before that I am going to clear everything whatever has been configured in my PC, so you will have a better idea. Okay, in my system currently in the source machine I have extract, pump as well as replicate. In the target machine also I have extract, pump, replicate process. Okay, so first step is that I am going to stop all the processes running on the source machine excluding manager. Second step is I will drop those extract, process, replicate as well as pump. The same operation I am going to do in the target machine also. After that I am going to truncate the checkpoint tables also, and I will wipe out everything in the source as well as target machines except manager. And again we are going to configure bidirectional configuration from scratch to end. I am not going to do initial load at this moment. Just I will start a state where both the source as well as target databases having the same set of data. Okay. So the first step is actually I wrote two sections. One is for source as well as target, but I felt those two separate sections are not required. So most probably in the next session I am going to club both the steps into together, and I will make it as a single step. First one is we need to find out any initial load related tasks have been configured. So this is the command we are going to check. The reason is if you configure extract process for initial load, that will not reflect in info all command. So in order to find those names, you need to give this command, so then it will show, otherwise it will not be visible with info all command. So those are not available. So I'm going to check if any initial load related replicate process exists. So nothing is available. So no need of first step. Second step is we need to stop all the process, not only replicate. Stop star. When you give stop star, it is going to stop all the processes except manager. Just remember that it is not going to stop the manager. Okay, all processes have been stopped except manager. Okay, now I'm going to delete all the processes whatever I configured now, I mean whatever available over here. Delete, extract, info all, that has been cleared. I'm going to delete the pump process as well. One more important point over here is that before deleting, you should connect it to the database, otherwise it will error out. Since I already connected earlier, so because of that reason it hasn't errored out, otherwise it will error out. Okay, only now pump replicate process is there. Okay, now in the source machine only manager is running, all processes have been deleted in the target machine. Now the next step is there is one more component called checkpoint table that has to be cleared. First, info checkpoint table. So this is the table has been created in the database using globals file. So I have to delete this table. Delete checkpoint table. Why I am deleting this checkpoint table is checkpoint tables are maintained by replicate process and it will record read and write positions in the checkpoint table in addition to the checkpoint file. Suppose if I don't drop the checkpoint table, it will have the previous read and write position. So the newly created replicate process will have a problem. So we have to clear the checkpoint table. So everything has been deleted except manager. The next step is I need to clear all the files as well. First thing is we have to clear the trail files. If you see, there are many local trails as well as remote trail files. I deleted, so nothing left over here. And when I delete any process, the corresponding checkpoint file also will be deleted. Just for your own information, I am showing you over here. So nothing left in dir chk folder. Okay. So everything has been cleared in the target mission. Now I am going to clear in the source mission. Okay. First step is stop all the processes in the target in the source mission. Info all, nothing is running. So I am deleting one by one. Delete, extract, info all, delete pump process, deleted, delete replicate process, it has been deleted. Okay, nothing has been left over here from the processes point of view. Now I am going to delete the checkpoint table also. Info checkpoint table. Okay, delete checkpoint. Okay, so checkpoint table has been cleared. Now the next step is I am going to delete the trail files as well. So there are a couple of trail files. I am going to delete those things also. Okay, so from the golden gate point of view, I cleared all the components as well as the checkpoint for tables and both the locations as well as the trail files also. So from the golden gate point of view, everything is clear. Now I am going to delete the database data also, except few records, except standard records, you can say. Okay, so currently my database having, employee table having 18 records, 28 records. So out of those 28 records, I'm going to retain 14 records only, the standard 14 records. These are the 14 standard records. So rest of the records I'm going to delete. Delete employee where job is null. Okay, only 14 records exist. Here also I'm going to delete. Only 14 records exist. Okay. Now both the databases having the same set of data. So directly I'm configuring the change synchronization directly. No initial load currently. Okay. It's not required at this moment, but in real time scenario you need to configure the initial load as well. Okay. So for configuring the initial load, first step is we are going to configure the unidirectional configuration from source to the target. Once it is running up and running, then again we are going to configure the reverse side unidirectional configuration. Okay. So first let me start with source to the target unidirectional configuration. So I have already documented today. So let's go through the same steps so that we can quickly complete all the things. And please note, I dropped the processes from the Golden Gate, but the parameter files which I used previously, those won't be deleted. So the parameter files, whatever exists over there, those will be present. So we are going to make use of those parameter files. No need to type all those commands again. So in this unidirectional configuration, let's talk about the upper part only. Let's discuss about the first upper part only. This one. I am going to configure the extract first. After that, I am going to configure the local trial. Third step is I am going to configure the pump process. Fourth one is I am going to configure the remote trial files. Next, I am going to configure the replicate process. Okay, and after that, I will start the extract process. I will perform one transaction, and we will see whether it has been replicated in the target. Then we will go with the other way unidirectional also. Okay, the first step is I need to configure the extract in the source machine. Okay, this is a bidirectional configuration. So as I mentioned, I'm going to add the extract in the source machine, and the extract name is IXT. Extract means first three characters are extract, and the second one is source and as well as target. Let me explain about the naming conventions also. Okay. The naming conventions which I used to use is okay. So process name or group name we can say, followed by source name and target name. So this is the notation which I am going to use for entire all the components. Process can be ext, extract, pump, PMP, or for replicate, REP. So first three characters will be either it could be extract or pump or replicate. Suppose if I am configuring extract process, it will be ext. Suppose if I am configuring pump process means PMP. If I am configuring replicate means it will be REP. The next next characters will be source database I am going to mention. So our source is INDDB, India DB. Okay, India DB, and the target is USDB. Okay, so okay, so in the source database INDDB, the target is USDB. So suppose if I need to configure source side configurations, how it will be ext, and data will be recorded from India and it will be pushed to US. IND US. Okay, always use proper naming conventions, otherwise it's going to be very, very tough. For pump process, I am going to create PMP from India to US. Replicate REP IND US. These are the names which I am going to use for source. For target, oh sorry. A mistake, I closed my TeamViewer. Okay. Now for the target, for extract, I am going to use first three characters extract. It is data is pumping, extracting from US, and it will be moved to India. And pump process, abbreviation is PMP, and the naming convention from where US to India. Replication REP US IND. Okay, so this naming convention is very, very useful if you have more than two endpoints. This convention will be very, very useful. So I am going to use this convention across all our bidirectional configuration today. So let's move on to our document. So first one is I am going to add the extract at source with name IXT IND US. From India to US, I am pumping I am configuring this extract for pushing the data from India to US. So for adding the extract, the add extract name, and it is going to read from the transaction log and it is going to begin now. So I am going to create in the source machine. Source machine DB login user ID GG user password GG user info all. There is no manager running. No other component. So I am going to add extract over here in the source machine. Info all extract has been created. Now the next step is I need to add the parameters for this extract. So how we are going to add the extract parameters? View params ext ind us. Okay, so since I have the previous parameter files, it is reflecting. Just I need to do some modifications over here. IXTINDUS. Okay. Okay. So here everything is same. First one is extract name I configured. The second one is environment I set it. Third one is I specified the database connection details. Next one is the extract trial where it has to write and the tables which it has to cover. Okay, and the table section important point is that it should end with a semicolon. So these are the parameters which I specified and I saved it and I exited. If you see, the same thing has been mentioned over here. Okay, now I created the extract file. The second step is I have to create a local extract as well. For creating the local extract, this is the command, that is add ext trail. For mentioning local trail, we will specify always ext trail. Okay, and where it has to record and to which extract process it has to link. Okay, so with this command, I am going to create one. Okay, I'm going to create one extract local trail also now. Before that, let's check whether any local trail exists. Okay. When I ran this command, you notice that no local extract has been, no local trail exists. So now I'm going to add one local trail. Okay, so if you see the output over here, this is the extract name and this is the location of the file as well as the naming convention for the sorry, naming convention for the local trail, and this is the file size. Okay, the next one is so extract has been configured and local trail has been configured. Now I need to configure the pump process. So for configuring a pump process, the same way how we added the extract process, add extract name, here pump name, pump abbreviation is PMP and it is pumping from India to US. Okay, and the next one is ext trial source, from where it has to read, that we need to specify, that is, this is the information about it. Okay, first of all, we know that there is no pump exists, just we have only extract process up and running. So I'm checking, I'm adding the pump now. Now if you give info all, you will see total 3 processes. One is manager, another one is extract, just we created few minutes back, and now the newly created pump process. Okay, all will be in a down state. Now next one is I need to add the parameter for this pump parameter, the one which we created. View parameters PMP IND US. Let me explain you just once again the parameters. View params so and so. So first line is the extract, that pump name we need to mention. Second one is username and password. Third one is pass through. This is the option which we are going to specify for implementing filtrations, custom filtering. We are going to use this option. Pass through, I am going to cover a little more details on this in the coming sessions. After that, RMT host. RMT host specifies to which node it has to pump the files. because the main objective of pump is to read the local trial files and push it to the remote machine in the form of remote trial files. So I need to specify host name as well as port number. On that port number, manager will be running. What is the port number? 7809. On 7809 on gghost02 machine, manager is running. So we are specifying the port number as well as the machine name. Automatically my pump process will connect to that machine. So next one is, where is the trial file location? Remote trial file. So on that machine, we need to specify a location where our data pump process has to create the remote trial files. So that we are going to specify here itself. After that, table columns, table section. Which tables it has to read and which tables it has to consider for pumping. So that will be done by table section, which is in the long, which is located at the end of the parameter file, separated by semicolon. That is the important point. Okay, so once pump has been configured and we edited parameters also for pump, now we are going to configure the next component, that is remote trial files. So we added the pump. Now I am going to add the remote trial files. If you see, this also we are configuring at the source only, but ultimately it will be done at the target machine. The files will be created in the target machine, but we are going to create it from the source machine only. Just make a note of this point. Now I am going to check if any trial files already exist. So we have created one local trial file. Now I am going to create remote trial file. So remote trial file, add RMT trial and file location name. After that, exact name we need to specify. Who is going to create these files? Remote trial files, pump process. Am I right? So this pump process reads the local trial file and pushes to the remote location. So I need to specify to which process this remote trial has to be associated. So I am specifying the corresponding pump name. Next one is, we are going to check whether it has been added correctly or not. Info ext trail star trail. If you see earlier, when I given, we have only one local trial. Now we have a remote trial as well that has been associated with the pump process. Earlier local trial has been associated with the extract process. That is only the difference. Okay. Now I need to start the extract process in the source machine. Actually, it's not required to start now, but just I'm starting. Okay, it's up and running. Now, target steps. So what I have to do? I created the pump process, I created the remote trial files. The next one is, I need to create the replicate table, replicate process. Since replicate uses checkpoint in the checkpoint table as well, first step in target machine is, so you need to create the checkpoint table, then you need to create the replicate process, replicate component on the target machine. Okay. So one more point I forgot. So replicate uses checkpoint table. So I need to create the checkpoint table. Sorry, which I told you earlier that was not the correct. So I need to create the checkpoint table in the target machine. So the first step is checkpoint table. Then I will configure the remote replicate process. For configuring the checkpoint table, we need to use add checkpoint table. My database info checkpoint table. So it is clearly telling that checkpoint table doesn't exist. Okay, and you haven't specified checkpoint information, so it is using globals information. Checkpoint table. So when I gave this one, since I haven't specified checkpoint table name, so it read globals file and it created the checkpoint name. Okay. So checkpoint table is created. Now the next one is I am going to add the replicate process. Here replicate process is first naming convention is replicate. The data is coming from India to US. So this is the naming convention I used for this component. Okay. Target mission is blue color. So this one I created checkpoint table. Now I'm checking any process is running. No process is running. Please see. Add replicate is a syntax. And next one is replicate process name. Exe trial. We are specifying the source location from where it is going to read the trial files. The trial file location is exe trial space that dir./rt. You can specify any other location also. This tab I executed in the target mission. Okay. Now I need to edit the parameters also. Let me explain you. First one is a replicate process name. Just we are mentioning the replicate name also. And the second one is set env. Third one is username, database username and password. Fourth one is the discard file name. I haven't explained you much about the discard file. I am going to cover later. Basically what happens is that this is going with the discard file option, we are going to specify the file name to which the corresponding process has to write if any discarded records found. Before the process goes into event state, it will write into this file and the process will abandon. Next one is assume targets. When there is no change in the table definitions, we need to specify this one. And the next one is we are specifying the column names. I mean here we are not specifying anything, just we are specifying the table names only. But if required, we can specify all those column components and everything in this clause itself. Okay, so these are the parameters which are available over here. Handle collisions, I commented it out intentionally because that is not required. Now, if you see, I configured the extract, local trial, pump process, remote trial I configured, replicate process I configured. Now, and I started extract also. So, starting the So next one is I need to start the replicate process. Extract has been already started, so no need to start extract process. This initial load is not required because we are not considering the initial load. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to start all the local extract, pump as well as replicate process. So first one is I'm going to start the pump process, which is located in the source machine. All it is running. So I haven't started replicate process over here. I'm starting now. Okay. Now configuration has been done for unidirectional configuration from source to target. Now I need to add some data to these tables. One yeah. Commit. Record has been committed. So I'm going to check here whether it has been reflected or not. The data is not reflected. I'm going to check why it is not reflecting. Trial file has been created. I'm checking whether the trial file has arrived or not. So remote trial file has been arrived over here, and next one is I'm going to check in the replicate parameter file, and not replicate parameter file. I'm going to see record has been reached. I think because of slowness or something, it took a while because I couldn't find any error. So I added one record in the source machine, so it has been reflected over here. So now with this we completed the one-way unidirectional. Now I need to configure extract, as well as pump, then replicate. The same steps, whatever I did over there, I'm going to do in the reverse direction also. Just before going to do that, just I would like to take a 5 minutes break and we can rejoin it. The session and everything will be the same. I mean, no need of any changes. If you need, you can take a break. And it is going to continue for another half an hour, less than half an hour, or 45 minutes approximately. So I'm stopping the record for timing. Now, let's start with configuring the unidirectional configuration from target to source. As a part of that, I'm going to configure extract, pump process, as well as replicate. So these are the steps, configuring the replicate from US to India. So at US side, I'm going to enabling the supplemental logging. So for enabling the supplemental logging, what I need to do, just I'm going to check in the VDollar database view whether it has been enabled or not. If it is not enabled, you need to enable. If it is already enabled, no need of any changes. So supplemental logging has been already enabled. Suppose if it is no, means you need to enable it manually. So for enabling the supplemental logging, you need to give alter database add supplemental log data. Okay. Now this is at the database level. Second one is that we need to check at the GG prompt level also. Info tran data star.star. So here it's already been enabled. The reason being I did some other trials earlier, so as a part of that it's been already enabled. Okay, so no need to enable it separately. However, if you need, you need to use this command add tran data. After that, you need to specify list of tables for which we need to enable the tran data. So I need to enable the tran data for all the Scott tables. So I given Scott.star. So it will enable the tran data for all the tables. Okay. The next one is add the extract at the target with name so and so ext and US from US to India. The data flows from US to India. So I'm going to configure the extract from the target mission. Info all. So no extract. So I'm going to add. Okay, let me explain this one also. Add extract name. It is going to read from the transaction log. After that, when it has to start capturing, immediately begin now. Info all. So extract is in a stopped state. Now I need to add the parameters to the newly created extract file. Params ext usind. Okay, so since I already configured for some different purpose, so everything is available. So let me make changes according to current scenario. Okay, so let me explain you the options also once again. Extract name. These are the environment variables. Here the only change is that you need to change the database to target mission. Earlier in other extract we specified India DB. Here I specified USDB. After that set NV so and so and username and password. Tran log options so and so. ext trial. From where to which location it has to write local trials. After that, which column, which tables I have to consider. So these are the details about the extract. Save and exit. View params ext usind. Okay, so the parameters are in place now. Add the local trial see the document here, once I configure the exec, I need to create a local trial also, because pump has to read. For adding the local trial, ext trial, where it has to write and to which exec process it has to be associated. Okay. Before that, I need to find out whether any exact, local trials have been already in place or not. For that, we will use ext trial info ext trial star comma star trail. So nothing is there. Sorry. So nothing is running over here. Nothing has been configured. So I am going to add ext trial local trial name and associating with the extract process. So it has been done. Now info ext trial star trial. So if you see, this is the local trial and this is the extract to which it has been associated. Its size is 100 MB. We can change the size also based on our requirement. 100 MB is the default one. Now, so local extract has been configured. Okay, local trial has been configured. Sorry. Then I need to configure the pump. So I am going to check what are the processes running currently. So no pump has been configured. So I am going to configure the pump. Add extract name PMP USIND ext trial source, from where it has to read. That location we are specifying. This specifies from which location pump has to read. So we specified over here. Okay, pump has been local trial has been added. Sorry, a pump has been created. Now I need to modify the parameters for this pump. Before that, I need to check whether it has been created or not. It has been created and it is in stopped state. Now I am going to check the parameters. View params. If you see the parameters, first line indicates the exact name to which it has been associated, username and password, and pass through a remote host where it is going to send the files to this host. For this pump process, this is the remote host now. So I need to specify this host details in this pump process. Okay. So what I am doing over here, GG host 1 and its manager port is 7809. So I specified it. Rest everything is same, like remote trial where it has to write and tables which it has to push it. So there is no filtering because we specified pass through option over here. I am going to explain about the pass through also later. So this is about the parameters. Everything is intact. There is no problem. Now I configured pump process. After that, I need to configure the remote trial over here, because collector process will write those file entries into the remote trial. So remote trial has to be created. So that also has to be created from here only. So I am checking, is there any trials exist currently, remote trial? Okay, so there are no remote trials, only one local trial has been created that has been associated with my extract file. So I am going to create one pump process. Add remote trial RMT trial. If you see earlier, we specified exact trial, but for remote trial, we are going to specify RMT trial and its location and to which it has been associated. Okay, so it has been created info ext trial star trial. Earlier, only one was there. After adding, now I have another one also that has been associated with my pump process. Okay, now all the steps are completed on the target machine. Just I need to start the extract. So for starting the extract, start extract. Extract is in stopped state. So I'm starting extract now on the target machine. So extract is in running state now. Even pump also has to start. Okay, so both I am going to start now. Okay, everything is running on the target machine. Now I need to configure replicate process over here. I need to configure the replicate process in the source machine. So how I am going to do? Yeah. So for replicate process, it requires a checkpoint table also. So I need to create the checkpoint table in the source machine. Means this is the one. Info checkpoint table. So it is saying that checkpoint table doesn't exist because we already dropped everything. So checkpoint table is not available in the source machine. Earlier we created the checkpoint table in the target machine only because we configured the replicate process on the target machine earlier in just a few minutes back. Okay, so I need to create the checkpoint information. Add checkpoint table. Here I am not specifying any table name over here because we already specified in a globals.file. So our system will take the value from the global file. Okay, info checkpoint check table. Okay, so the checkpoint table has been created. So the next step is we need to add the replicate. So for adding the replicate, so this is the replicate name and extract trail, ext trail is, this is the location. If you see, I specified a slight deviation. RT is for remote trial file and for local trial files I mentioned it as a LT. In order to make some difference for both the files, I created like that. In the earlier case, let me show you here. Info ext trial star trial. If you see, extract is creating local trial files at this location with the naming convention LT. LT represents local trial. LT 6 times 0. Here pump process is creating remote trial files at this location on remote host with RT prefix. Okay, so this is the main difference you need to notice. Okay, so I am going to add the replicate. replicate name, and its source is dir/RT. RT means remote trial files which are sent by target machine here. So this replicate has to be configured in my source machine. Source machine, there is no replicate process, so I am adding the replicate process. Info all. So replicate is in a stop mode. Now I need to cross check the parameters for this replicate process. Okay, so let me explain you. I already explained you earlier, so let me re-explain. Let me explain one more time. Replicate process, process name, and environment details. Here, if you see, earlier I used USDB when I am configuring this replicate process. When I am configuring this process, this replicate process will connect to the target machine. And now I am configuring this replicate process. This is going to connect to this source machine. So for this replicate process, I have to specify India database name. Okay. After that, rest everything will be the same. User ID so and so, discard file which we are going to use, and assume target depth, that is a standard one, and this one. I am not going to explain handle collisions at this moment. I am going to explain later also that one. Okay, so that has been configured. So we are good now. What we did, we configured the extract. After that, we configured the replicate process, local trials. First we configured the extract, then local trials, then we configured the pump process. We configured remote trial files over here. Okay, after that we configured the replicate process. Now I need to start replicate process. Okay, here starting all the, we used this one. Either way is okay. Info all, except replicate, everything is started position. So I'm using start all, or you can say reps replicate also you can use specifically. It clearly said that it is already running, so it started only this one. Now here also everything is running, so no action is required. Okay, so what I did was I configured the unidirectional in both the ways, from source to target, again target to source, and I haven't considered looping concept over here. Without configuring the looping concept, I configured the bi-directional. So what happens? Let me explain you how it is going to happen. Source user application will add one record over here, so that will be captured. That will be captured over here. Extract process will read redo log files over here. Source application will do some record insert into the source database, and that will be recorded into the redo log files. And extract will read my this new transaction, and it will write into the local trials. And this has been read by pump process, and it will be pushed to the remote trial by collector process. And replicate will read this, and it will apply in the target machine. When it applies, what happens? It will be recorded in redo log files. Yeah. So it will be created in the it is coming. It will be created. It will be recorded in the redo log files. Okay. So my extract process, this extract process, what it does is it will read this redo log files, and it will again pump. So because I haven't considered looping concept, what it does, though it is applied by GG user, it will be recorded in the redo log files, and extract will read and it will write into the local trial, and pump will read and push it to the remote trial files, and replicate will apply here. So what happens? Say for example, if it inserts employee number as 11, it will be inserted into the target machine. There is no problem. Again, the same 11 record, employee number 11 record will be pushed back to over here, and replicate will try to insert it over here. Since this record exists in the source database, and our replicate process is trying to insert into the source machine, since it is a duplicate record, it will fail, and that record will be added to the discard file, as well as replicate process will be abandoned. Where the replicate process will be abandoned? On the source machine. Okay, there is no problem for this replicate process, which is this process on the target machine. Okay, only the problem will happen for this replicate, because this record already exists in the source machine, and current replicate process is trying to insert the same record because of the looping issue. Okay, so I am going to show that concept, then we will move ahead. Okay, so now I am going to insert the record at source machine. I connected the India database. I'm connecting to Scott schema. Now I'm checking how many records exist. 15 records exist. Let me check over here also. Connect Scott/Tiger. Connect Tiger. Set pages 120. Set lines 120. Okay, so 15 record exists over here. Here also 15 records exist. So data is same across both the databases. Now I am going to insert one record in India database. Okay, and please note, on India database, for easiness, I am adding two digit numbers in the source database. Okay, only 2 digit numbers only I am inserting over here. Employee number 22 and name is BBB, 5 times B. Let's take 2 times B only. Commit. Okay, now I will come back to the target machine. I will check whether it has been reflected or not. So the record has been reflected. So once, if you see, record has been abandoned in the source machine. Source means where I inserted data, there the replicate process has been abandoned. And let me show you how it is in the target. It is running, no issues. As I explained you earlier, this is because looping problem. Okay, now let me correct this problem first, then I will show you how to rectify that looping mechanism. And also let me show you record how it is reflected in the GG location, GG log as well. See, it errored out with unique constant error. Okay, Now, if you see, 2 times you will find this error. Okay, I will explain to why this many number of times also later. Okay, this is reflected over here, and to know which record it abandoned, I am going to visit dir RPT. Sorry, not RPT. I need to go to discard file. I'm sorry. Here, discard. See, it has a problem with employee number 22 and employee name is BB. So that entire record information will be available over here. So generally applications owner will look into this information and they will rectify why this record has been discarded, etc. During the initial configuration, we will design in such a way that it will not enter into these scenarios. But because of some other issues, there could be problem with some few records. So those records will be pushed to the discard file, and we will give access to the application owners. So they will look into these records and they will do the needful for that. Okay. Now we saw the record details and everything. So how to overcome this? In order to overcome this, we will use the tran log options. But before moving ahead, first of all, we need to correct current system, and we need to start the replicate. Okay. So in order to start replicate process, from this record, what I need to do is just I need to add one parameter called handle collisions. Okay, so what I will do is I added one parameter called handle collisions, and that's all. Now I did some changes to the parameters of replicate, and currently replicate is in abandoned state, so I need to start it so that the parameter will be in effect. So star I am giving instead of specifying the name, anything is okay. Info all. So replicate is in up and running state. Now I am going to insert one more record now. Let's see how it is going to happen. So the record has been moved to target machine also. Previously, replicate process means this one. Replicate process used to abandon because of looping issue. I added handle collisions to correct the situation, but that is not the solution over here. Just to correct the current problem, I added handle collisions. And let's see whether the problem has been abandoned state or not. So it is running. Now there is no issue. But in the future, if anybody does, if any incident happens, our replication process should not abandon. So for that, I need to add a parameter called tran log options. So this is the command I need to add in the extract parameter file, where this trial log options I need to specify in extract process. So what it does is it will not read the user whatever I mentioned in exclude clause, where I have to mention this transactional or trial log options. This replicate process got abandoned because that record exists in the remote trial file. From where this remote trial file came? Pump process. For pump, where the record came? Extract process. So I have to modify in this extract. I have to add an option called trial log options, exclude user, and GG. I mean, whoever the user, we need to exclude. So when I mention trial log options, exclude user, username, this extract process, whatever I specified over here, this extract process will not consider those users transactions. So this record will not be mentioned in the local trial files. Okay, so this is means this extract means this is located in the target. In the similar way, to overcome that situation on the target machine, where we have to include, I have to include in this extract. Okay, but currently we have an issue because of this extract file. So what I am going to do is I am going to sorry, I confused. Yeah, since it is a bidirectional means I have to specify the trial log options in both extracts. So here as well as here I have to specify. So what happens is this extract will not consider GG user transactions and this extract will not consider GG user transactions. So in both the directions we are good in that situation. So let me show you. Now we are good with respect to data. And one more point, actually sometime back when I was referring to handle collision situation, we are going to use handle collision situation as and when problem happens only. We are not supposed to use handle collisions option every time. Now we know that replicate got abandoned because of certain scenario, because of certain records. To clear from that state, we used handle collisions parameter and we brought the system back to the normal state. Once the system is normal, what we are going to do is we are going to comment that handle collision parameter, because in real-time scenario, these kind of issues will happen only because of application related issues. Suppose if I include handle collision parameters and application is trying to do something wrong, some wrong data, and if we specify handle collision parameter, then we will not come to know what is going on in the system. Application keeps sending the wrong data and our system will ignore the data and it will keep moving. But the problem is not in the golden gate configuration, the problem is from the application. So we have to notify to the application owner and they have to correct it. So in order to identify that issues, we always comment handle collision parameter. We will never keep it until unless we end up in problems. So what I did just now, I added in a replication process for the current situation, and the problem has been resolved and replication is currently in a good shape. So I am going to comment it out. Where I configured the replicate process which is running on my source machine. Params. So this parameter handle collisions has to be commented out. Okay. Okay, handle collisions has been commented out. Now, what I have to do, I did some changes in the parameters, so I have to restart my replicate process. Start all. Sorry. Stop. Replicate. Start. Okay, so replicate is in good shape now. I mean, the problem has been rectified. The data level problem has been rectified by using handle collisions option in replicate process. Okay, so now I need to avoid the looping situation. How we are going to do? I am going to add this option in both the exclude parameters. Edit params ext nds. Here I have already just I commented. So now tran log options and exclude user, and which user we have to exclude? GG user. So I'm excluding that user. I'm saying this file, and here, so let me restart it. Stop, extract process, start. So now I started over here. So the same changes I'm going to do in the target mission also. Edit params ext us ind. So I saved it, I stopped it. Okay, now my bidirectional configuration has been configured to safeguard from looping issue by adding tran log options parameters in extract running on both the sides. Now, if I insert a data either in the source or in the target, my system will handle it without any issue. Let me show you that. Select start. Select star from EMP. So 17 records are there. Records are there. Here also 17 records. Now I am going to add one record in the source mission. So 3 is there. Now I am going to use 44DD. Okay, commit. Now I am going to check from here. So the record has been pushed over here, and I am going to check whether my replicate is up and running or not. Replicate is up and running in the source mission. Replicate is up and running in the target mission. So we avoided looping problem over here. Now I am going to add another record in the target mission. Here this is. For adding one record in the insert statement, I am going to use. Here for our clarity purpose, I am going to use 3 ones. Earlier in the source mission I used 2 ones. Now I am adding 3 ones. Okay, commit. Okay, so I am going to check the records over here. So 19 records. This record has been added from target mission. Okay, so I did both the ways. I added one record in the source mission that has been reflected in the target mission. and again I added one record in the target machine, this record, so that has been reflected in the source machine. So our bidirectional configuration has been configured and it can handle looping issues also. Okay, so this is about bidirectional configuration. So in this again I'm going to do one delete also, update also. Let me show you. I'm going to do update statement. Update employee set job equal to set ename equal to source change equal to 1. Now I am doing some change in the database. So I'm going to change this records employee name to source change employee number. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to commit the record. I'm going to see in the target. So employee number 11 and its name is source ch. Okay. Now I'm going to do some changes in the target machine and let's see whether those are reflected in the source machine or not. I did a changes from the target machine where EMP number equal to 11. Commit. Select star from EMP. So changes are done. Okay, so we covered with the update as well as insert. Now I'm going to try delete also. Delete EMP where EMP number is less than 100. Okay. Okay. So these records 332244 I added from and 11 I added from source machine. So I'm going to delete all those records. Let's see whether it deletes or not. So 4 deletes recorded. So I'm going to do commit. Select star from EMP. So all records have been deleted. Now I am going to delete this record from the target machine. Just I am giving 200. I think that will cover. Yeah. So when I do this one, that 111 record should delete in both the locations. Okay, committed. Start from EMP. Okay, 14 records exist in the source machine and 14 records exist in the target also. So we tested insert, delete, update update options in bidirectional configuration also. Okay, so now bidirectional configuration is completed. We covered all the scenarios with looping mechanism. So I'm stopping this recording. If any doubts, you can